The Civil War ended in 1865, leaving a nation deeply divided and devastated. The end of slavery presented a new set of challenges for the country, as it struggled to rebuild and address the issues of civil rights. This was the beginning of the Reconstruction period, a time of great change and conflict in American history. The goals of Reconstruction were threefold: to rebuild the Southern economy, to ensure the rights and freedoms of newly freed slaves, and to bring the rebellious Southern states back into the Union. To rebuild the Southern economy, the federal government invested in infrastructure projects like roads and railroads. New industries like tobacco and textiles emerged, but the South remained predominantly agricultural. Many newly freed slaves were forced to become sharecroppers or tenant farmers, working for white landowners in a system that often perpetuated their poverty and oppression. To ensure civil rights, Reconstruction-era Republicans passed laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. This provided a legal basis for the rights of Black Americans, including citizenship and equal protection under the law. However, these laws were often not enforced, and white supremacists used violence and intimidation to maintain their dominance in the South. The Ku Klux Klan and other groups terrorized Black communities and targeted Republican politicians. Reconstruction came to an end in 1877, when Republican Rutherford B. Hayes won the presidency in a disputed election. Southern Democrats agreed to support Hayes in exchange for the removal of federal troops from the South. The end of Reconstruction ushered in a new era of segregation and discrimination in the South. But the legacy of Reconstruction and the struggle for civil rights continued for generations to come. Reconstruction was marked by the rise of African American political power, as Black men were granted the right to vote and hold political office for the first time in American history. African American politicians like Hiram Revels and Blanche Bruce served in the U.S. Senate, while hundreds of Black men were elected to state and local offices throughout the South. The Freedmen's Bureau was established by Congress to help newly freed slaves make the transition to freedom. The Bureau provided food, clothing, and medical care, and helped negotiate labor contracts between former slaves and their white employers. However, the passage of the Black Codes by Southern state governments quickly limited the rights of African Americans. These laws restricted the movement and employment of Black people and ensured that they would remain in a position of subjugation. The Compromise of 1877 marked the end of Reconstruction, as Hayes promised to remove federal troops from the South in exchange for Southern Democrats recognizing his presidency. The Supreme Court case of Plessy v. Ferguson in 1896 upheld the legality of segregation in public facilities, and cemented the Jim Crow laws that would govern the South for the next several decades. Reconstruction was a complex and tumultuous period in American history. Though it ultimately failed to achieve its goals of true equality and justice for all, it set the stage for the long struggle that would continue throughout the 20th century and beyond. Thank you for watching Part 6 of the American Odyssey, a historic series. Part 7 will be on screen soon. I will provide link of this series in playlist. Go and watch all episodes.